wondered how you could have found such a treasure. The gods have a plan for you, a destiny.
I've seen its power with my own eyes. Releasing the sand turns back time. Only the holder of the dagger is aware of what's happened.
How did you do that?
Only the dagger can unlock the sands of time. And there are those who would use this power to destroy the world.
Time will erase everything.
The only way to stop this Armageddon is for us to take the dagger to the secret Guardian Temple. We must take it there, Dastan.
You really enjoy telling me what to do, don't you?
Only because you're so good at following orders.
Yeah, don't press your luck.
Assassins.
They strike terror into the heart of all they cross.
Such a noble prince. Leaping to assist the fallen beauty.
Who said you were a beauty?
There must be a reason why you can't take your eyes off me.
Find him!
The High Temple. It's guarded by some sort of demon. Dastan, where's the dagger?
You're welcome to search me for it. You'll have to be very thorough.
It's time.
We have to get out of here.
This is, forgive this question, it might be a little silly, but I remember in the earlier games, like your brother would do some of the sound effects. So is he in here somewhere doing stuff?
It's true. My brother actually was the model for the original animations in the first Prince of Persia game back in 1985.
Right.
He was in high school. He wasn't a very good athlete even then. He hasn't really gotten any better, so no, he was disappointed, but no. Jake really did his own stuff. The game that the movie's most directly based on is Sands of Time. That's the 2003 game from Ubisoft Montreal, and I relaunched the franchise with it. So it's really that one. But you can see that there's costume and certain elements in the trailer that it also draws on the whole Sands of Time trilogy. I think a big challenge of video game adaptations in general is that one of the first thing that's lost in the adaptation is the gameplay,
right?
Which is usually the reason that the game was successful in the first place. So it's got to be a movie that can stand on its own, even if there never were a video game. And I think Prince of Persia is that.
No, it's a really interesting story. I mean, it's, it reminds me of a throwback to like Lawrence of Arabia, like a movie with a supernatural added to it.
You're known for taking a lot of risks, like building off of these last two answers, and obviously doing a video game related movie is a big risk, but your risks always seem to pay off. I mean, when I first heard Prince of Persia, I was like, I don't know, because there'd been so many unsuccessful ones, but then when I heard you were behind it, I was like, this could be sick. So what was it about the pitch? Like, did Jordan bring it to you, or did someone else pitch it to you, and how long did it take for you to go, sweet, let's do this?
Yeah, actually, John August and I brought it to you.
They brought it to us.
As a pitch in 2004.
Pitched it to us, and we liked the idea, and we started developing it. Let Jordan write the first couple of drafts, and then we kept embellishing. Just like, how we talked, I just told you about how we do the effects, how you start with something and you keep layering it and layering it. It's the same thing with storytelling. Jordan gave us a great blueprint, some great stuff, and then we kept layering more and more. It's really a biblical story. It's about a boy who gets taken, an urchin, kind of a street urchin, who gets taken off the streets and gets to be a Prince of Persia. And it's the competition of his two brothers who want the throne. And the uncle, so it's this kind of wonderful story that goes back to the Bible.
And did you play any of it at all? For reference, did you beat the game, or did you?
I think you got to do both. think you got to really entertain an audience. That's the key. Otherwise, you'll be unhappy, and the gamers will be unhappy because they'll come see it and they're not entertained, but they see all their cool gameplay in it, but they walk out saying, "Yeah, it was all right." So I think you got to give them exactly what Jordan said. Give them a great story, great characters, and have recalls to the game. And that's what we have. We have a lot of recalls. So when you see the movie, you'll say, "Oh yeah, I remember that. That's cool. They took that." And so you'll see a lot of the game stuff that's in the movie.
Well, the story is different, and that was true from the first draft of the script, because the game was a story to be played, and so, there's elements that you'll recognize, but it's really, if you tell the story of the movie, it's quite different, and, changing the names of the characters, Princess Tamina, Prince Destan, that sort of meant that as a signal to gamers not to expect it to be a literal retelling of the story of the game. I don't want to give anything away, but okay, I mean, if you've played the old Prince of Persia, you know that the first 10 minutes of Raiders of the Lost Ark was, where Indiana Jones runs and jumps and, the gates closing, and, but that was a big inspiration for the action of the game. Well, you remember the guide in that sequence?
In the game?
In Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
The guy was like, throw me the idol at the whip. That was
Alpha Merlina, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. I would like to ask you about the casting choice, because I know that when it was announced that Jake Gyllenhaal would indeed be playing the character, a lot of gamers were a little bit skeptical. And obviously this trailer, when people see this trailer, that it should shut them right up, because I was one of those ones that was like, Jake Gyllenhaal, I don't know, but now seeing this trailer, I'm like, yeah, I could absolutely get behind, going, Jake Gyllenhaal was a good choice. Now, how did, because I'm sure the forums just went sort of flooded once they found out that Jake was playing the prince. How did you guys respond to that? And did that like motivate Jake to come to you more and say, I want it? Because I know that, he's a hard worker and he wants to stay faithful to anything that's already a successful franchise. So did he work harder with you guys to make sure that he stayed true to the character, or, did you just let him go on his own?
I could talk about, why I think Jake is great in the role, and I know that he's really into the games. He took that very seriously.
Yeah, he trained very hard for this film.
Was he playing as the movie was going? Did he just ever go back to the game and just be like, oh, I want to refer a little bit?
Well, I know he was speaking with a British accent in between takes, and at the end of my first day on set, driving back to base camp, I saw him jogging. After this long day in the 125-degree heat, he went for a jog. I mean, he had more muscles than his stunt doubles.
Wow.
But as far as the role, as far as who the prince is, to me, the Prince of Persia has always been, a swashbuckling hero, sort of, in the vein of Indiana Jones, Doug Fairbanks, Errol Flynn. He's not like the kind of video game hero who's out to vanquish all of his enemies. He's got like an intelligence, a mischievous streak, sort of an underdog. He's got a vulnerability. I think Jake just embodies all those qualities, captured them in a way that's very appealing. That's pretty mind-boggling. I grew up on the East Coast, so for me, when I was 6, Disneyland was like, Shangri-La. It was this faraway thing that if I was lucky, I might get to visit once in my life. So it's a pretty amazing thought. But the idea that there's going to be Legos too is also pretty staggering. Well, Ubisoft's making the games. Disney's obviously making the movie. Ubisoft and Disney didn't work together directly, but I worked with both of them. With Disney on the movie and Ubisoft on the games. And Ubisoft was very supportive of the movie. And I think the influence on the production was kind of at all levels. It wasn't just through the screenplay. I mean, when I got to London, Pinewood Studios, and met the artists and technicians and craftspeople who had made, were actually designing the sets and the costumes and so forth. They were totally steeped, in the games. They were big game fans.